Hello, my friends. This is Case Keeper, and now we will listen to a very unusual story about a former law enforcement officer who became a participant in a terrible incident. Get ready, let's go. In September 1999, law enforcement officer Tracy Fortson began dating bodybuilder Douglas Benton. They met each other in the gym, and their relationship began to develop quite rapidly. 35-year-old Tracy Leah Fortson was a deputy sheriff. Tracy was a single mother and raised a teenage daughter. The woman preferred to spend her free time fishing or hunting, as well as doing physical exercises in the gym. Tracy liked her work, although at times she found it difficult to communicate with her colleagues. 38-year-old Douglas Benton, or Doug as he was known, worked as a welder, and as an additional income, he raised exotic birds for sale at home. In his spare time, Doug, like Tracy, did weightlifting in the gym. The man was not a professional athlete, he was an ordinary amateur bodybuilder. Tracy and Doug fell in love and had the same hobbies. The man owned a Harley-Davidson motorcycle, and he and Tracy loved riding it. In general, for many people who knew them, they seemed to be the perfect couple. While Tracy liked her job as a deputy sheriff and enjoyed serving the law, she experienced certain difficulties within the team. After some time, Tracy began to stand up for her rights, and she spoke out for women's rights in the sheriff's department. In addition, according to Tracy, some of her colleagues, including the sheriff himself, sometimes made obscene statements about her. Doug, of course, didn't like it. He was angry. And finally, in February 2000, Tracy Fortson filed a report for dismissal from the police. After that, the woman started working with Doug in his welding business. In June, about 4 months after Tracy was fired from law enforcement, Douglas Benton's neighbors reported to the police that they were worried about the welfare of the owner of the house. The man had not been seen for a long time, and his cages with exotic birds look abandoned and no one cares for them. On June 17, police arrived at the designated location and went inside Benton's home to check on the man. But the man was not inside or outside the house. None of his neighbors, friends, or relatives, including his mother, had any idea where Doug was or had heard from him. But all of his friends and family knew, of course, that Doug was romantically involved with Deputy Tracy Fortson. The next day, police officers took a statement from Miss Fortson and discussed the nature of her relationship with Benton. Tracy told the police that the last time she saw her boyfriend was 2 weeks ago. She also said that there were occasional misunderstandings in their relationship. The last time Tracy was at Doug's house on June 4, they had an argument during which Doug got angry and asked her to leave the house immediately. According to Tracy, she hasn't seen him since. Mr. Benton's neighbors also confirmed that they had last seen him on June 4. Initially, the detectives didn't have a single clue. The adult man disappeared of his own accord. But suddenly, the police found a car belonging to Doug. The car was parked outside Benton's friend's house. He had been there since the first days of June, but the friend didn't know how this car was near his house and who drove it. The clue to the location of the owner of the vehicle could be a mysterious note left of the windshield and addressed to a friend of Doug Benton. It was a handwritten note, but a friend of Mr. Benton's claimed that there had never been any such conversations or arrangements between them before. Unfortunately, the friend also couldn't confirm Doug Benton's handwriting to the detectives, as he hadn't seen it before. On Monday, June 19, just 2 days after Doug disappeared, a man approached the sheriff's department and identified himself as the manager of a farm in Oglethorpe County. He said that on the farm there is a metal through of unknown origin and there is a very unpleasant smell. The investigation team immediately arrived at this place. The metal through was completely filled with cement, which had already hardened and turned into a cement block. The police destroyed the cement with a sledgehammer. The body of the missing Doug Benton was found inside. He was lying there, covered by 2 shower curtains. In addition, experts quickly established that firearms and etched weapons were used in this incident. The police suggested that the crime must have been committed by someone close to them. The detectives decided to re-examine Doug Benton's property. On the same day, they entered his house and now smelled a strong smell of kerosene. The police claimed that 2 days ago there was no such smell. Then they lifted the carpet and saw a large kerosene stain that had soaked through the carpet. Traces of kerosene were also present on and under the sofa, and upon closer inspection of the sofa, experts found many suspicious brown spots that someone had tried to carefully wipe away. But another point caught the detectives' attention. There were scented candles on the carpet and sofa in the living room. They were arranged in such a way that a fire could occur in the room. The police released that someone before them had been in the house during the previous 2 days and had committed all these actions intentionally. Meanwhile, Doug Benton's friends and other acquaintances were being polygraphed, and police officers were going door to door and interviewing neighbors. But the strange thing was that almost everyone had voiced their suspicion in the direction of former Deputy Sheriff Tracy Fortson. According to friends of the missing man, Doug and Tracy had some aggressive behavior in their relationship with each other. Tracy was jealous of her boyfriend not only for other women she knew, but also for Doug's friends. She even tried to turn over his motorcycle, and in another quarrel, she climbed into the car for a firearm. At that time, Doug managed to intercept him. Gradually, Doug's friends stopped visiting them because of Tracy. After 8 months of fighting and dating, Douglas Benton broke up with Tracy Fortson. The investigation also found that Tracy Fortson was well aware of the farm where Douglas Benton was found. The woman never came to this area to hunt. As a result, the police drew attention to the deputy sheriff and decided to search her property. Detective found several receipts from stores for purchases that were of interest to them. It was established that on June 4, the day Doug Benton was last seen, the woman bought a new shower curtain at the store. The police assumed that this curtain was intended to replace the one found with the man. Later that day, the woman purchased a metal through and 10 36-kilogram bags of concentrate mix. The construction department salesman confirmed that it was Tracy who made the purchase. According to the results of the examination, the particles of the concentrate mixture from the trunk of Tracy's car matched the samples of the mixture that was in the metal through. The through itself was painted in camouflage paint. Cans of the same paint were found in the suspect's home. Also in the house of Tracy was found a firearm, which presumably, according to the investigation, could be used in the act. In addition, the experts found that the persons in the house of Doug Benton acted in latex gloves. Suspicious latex gloves were seized during a search of Miss Fortson's property. The note found on the windshield of Doug's car and allegedly written by the man himself was attached to the glass with a special adhesive tape, which is usually used by the police to remove hidden fingerprints. It was the same kind of duct Tracy Fortson had been given when she worked for the sheriff's department. The investigation claimed that her fingerprint was found on the tape, and one of the witnesses reported that the note was in Tracy's handwriting. According to the investigation, on the night of June 4, Tracy entered Doug's house while he was sleeping on his couch, and they committed this act to give the impression that the man had disappeared of his own free will. She parked Doug's car outside the home of one of his friends. Knowing that the police would search her boyfriend's house, Tracy tried to thoroughly wash the surface of the sofa and other items, and then spilled kerosene and placed candles. But the fire never happened. On October 18, Tracy Fortson was charged, but the case was not so clear-cut, and the former law enforcement officer insists on her innocence. According to Tracy's mother, Sharon Fortson, her daughter was very fond of Doug, and they had a wonderful relationship. Surprisingly, Doug Benton's mother, Carol, also came to Tracy's defense. Tracy claimed it all started during her time on the force. Some of Tracy's co-workers were having lewd conversations with her. At first, she tried to brush it all off and focus on her work, but her boyfriend, Doug Benton, was determined. According to Tracy, Doug had persuaded her to buy a tape recorder and to record all the lewd conversations at the sheriff's department. Doug also convinced Tracy to resign and file a lawsuit against his department. Tracy claimed that the firearm found in her home was planted. She confirmed that she had indeed bought a metal through, but the through was intended to feed her own animals, and the woman was going to use 10 bags of concentrate mix to build a pen for dogs. According to Tracy, just the next day, the through and all the concentrate mix disappeared from her garage. However, the woman didn't go to the police. In addition, on the front door of Doug Benton's house, the DNA of an unknown man was found, which, according to Tracy, the investigation ignored. Her daughter Eliza claimed that her mother would not have had the strength to move Doug Benton, weighing about 110 kilograms, as well as a solution of 10 bags of concentrate mix from the man's house to a nearby farm. Yes, Tracy Fortson regularly worked out in the gym, but everyone doubted that a woman could get a heavy through out of the back of her pickup truck. One of the investigators claimed that Tracy could use a rope thrown over a tree to move the through to the specific location when her car was moving. Tracy Fortson presented an expert witness in her defense, who expressed the opinion that the handwriting in the note found on Doug Benton's car did not match Tracy's handwriting after all. But the investigation presented two documents as a sample, and they formed the basis of expert testimony that it was Tracy who was the person who wrote the note left on the windshield. In 2015, Tracy once again filed a motion for a new trial, which was the last appeal available to her. The state Supreme Court refused again. Please write in the comments what you think about this story. Friends, thank you for watching. If you want more of these stories, please like them. See you again.